Hey everyone, welcome to Clift Talks. Today I'm going to be reacting to Depression by Ren. And this is a song that's pretty close to home for me as someone who's been living with depression and anxiety for several years now. And I've had to make quite a few life adjustments and dealing with what depression means for your life. And I first came across this song in one of Ren's chapters when I was covering his chapter series. And I thought, I need to circle back to this at some point. So I'm feeling pretty level headed right now. So it feels like a good time to dive into this one. So without further ado, here we go.
My thought patterns are composed by a time bomb for an author, like pigs to the slaughter. A symphony of self-doubt sings out, breath starts getting shorter, running water. It's the state that I wish to become. Instead, concrete envelops my movement and I'm rendered deaf and dumb, unable to heed the advice of others. Don't tell me things will get better, cause so far things haven't gotten better. I've got the sweater,
There's so much thrown into this just to begin with. You know, you've got panic attacks, you've got wanting to be invisible, wanting to be like running water is like being transparent, just being able to move quick, being able to just get from A to B without being noticed. And instead he's feeling like concrete, which is, yeah, that sluggish feeling of just moving from one spot to another or getting from A to B and getting through your days. You know, you do feel like a lead weight or like concrete. That's a rough one. Poster child bipolar. I know about Ren's backstory with bipolar and ADHD and the therapists, and there's a lot in his chapters around that. So if you haven't dug into Ren's background too much yet, then the chapters is a good place to look. Let's keep going.
things will get better, cause so far things haven't gotten better. I've got the sweater, poster child, bipolar, ADHD, therapist, wet dream. I don't wanna talk about my father, I don't wanna talk about my dead friend, I don't wanna talk about myself. I'm sick of talking about myself, I'm sick of talking about myself and realizing that talking about myself never ever helps. Still, I call for help.
Talking about yourself is like the one thing that you have to be able to do because it's your brain. You know, it's not something that's that physical. Yes, you've got lots of physical symptoms, but you can't talk. If you can't talk to people about what's going on, then no one can help you. And the medical industry is what it is, and you jump from GP to therapist to well-being advisors and nurses and all kinds of different people, as well as family, friends, work colleagues, all the rest of it. You just over and over and over and over talking about what you've got going on, what help you need, or people are trying to give you help, but it might not be the help that you need. You know, there's so much wrapped up in that need to be able to talk and the energy that that requires and that just ability to even bother to start a conversation with people in itself is really trying. So I completely get that angle on this because it's incredibly difficult to do at times.
And realizing that talking about myself never ever helps. Still, I call for help, cause I really want help.
And it often feels like it doesn't help because help is not that forthcoming. It's not that fast. Nothing is very immediate. You know, it doesn't matter what gets offered to you. You're added onto a waiting list, or you're trying medication or some kind of support therapy or something, and it doesn't happen within a day. You know, you might be waiting 6 months. You might have several months of waiting for drugs to get into your system before you feel the effects or you feel the right kind of effects. There's so much wrapped up in just starting that conversation and then that help that you get, and whether it's the right help and whether it's the help that you need, because no two people are the same, and depression is the same like that as well. It's not like a headache where here's some paracetamol, half an hour later you feel better. That everybody can take and it has the same effect, because it really doesn't with depression. So I think that's definitely one of the big complexities of it, and the fact that there's no immediate cure for it either. You've just got to learn to live with it, pretty much. All right, enough from me. Let's keep going.
Never ever helps. Still, I call for help, cause I really want help. But the pills didn't seem to help, and the therapist didn't seem to help. But still, I want help. I've danced with the devil in hell. I've sat in a prisonless cell, and here I always dwell, in this prison in myself.
I've sat in a prisonless cell. Just the visuals that brings up, that you feel like you're trapped and you can't get out, and yet there's no actual physical barriers or walls around you, but you feel trapped because you do. You feel very stuck in your life. You don't feel like you can create change. You don't feel like anything you do is making a difference, and you want to feel different, but you can't, and you just don't know what to do, and you've lost all energy. You just giving up. It gets to that point where you feel like you are just giving up, and that prisonless cell, I think, plays into that visual earlier about feeling like concrete. It's a similar feeling of just being stuck, being stagnant. That ability to just be, you're just immobile. In that sort of metaphorical sense, and sometimes physical. Okay.
Cell, and here I always dwell, in this prison in myself. I do this thing when my mind travels back to the golden age. You know those times where you were carefree and everything was golden? The golden age. You know those times where everything was golden, where you were carefree and everything was golden? The hardest thing I ever had to do was come to terms.
I keep pausing a lot, but there's just so much to unpack in this, and just how much it all relates to me as well. And I just want to say, like, that line there about the golden age, and I'd be interested to know what that means to you, if it connects with you, because my feeling is that might mean something different to different people. But to me, that means what life was like before depression, and those times when you did have energy, you did have that thirst for life, and that ability to do lots of different things and feel busy and productive and happy and carefree and do all the things that you imagine you want to be able to do, and living a lifestyle that makes you just feel on top of the world sometimes, or things are going the right way, or you've got that sense that life is ahead of you and you can do anything, and there's that just sense of optimism in your life. And I'm not saying I don't feel that now, but certainly it's a very different headspace to be in, a very different place when you were in that golden age, compared to where you are now, and that point in time when you're sort of saying, this is where I'm at, and how difficult and different life is now. And it's not something you can just change and snap out of. You've got to be able to look forward, but there's a bit of you that feels like your best days were back then. And that's what that means to me. In when Ren talks about the golden age, it's almost like those best years, and that optimism and that positivity and all the things that are so challenging to just have in your life now, and that you've got to really fight for. So I would love to hear what you think of that segment as well. So pop it in the comments, please. All right, let's keep going.
And everything was golden. The hardest thing I ever had to do was come to terms with the fact that That time never really existed. I've always felt so fucking detached and broken, bruised and mismatched. Find it hard to relax, living under the cracks. Tried to fill in the gaps, lying here on my back. Still, I can't find it. Sense of peace in my mind declined it. Pulse increase and my sweat combines with a feeling so deep I fall inside it. Depression, I hate you, depression. Your constant oppression, respond with aggression. They say depression brings you lessons. Constant stressing conceals blessings. You will grow in broken settings. Fuck those lessons, fuck depression. I've been living in your shadow for so long that I forgot how I can shine. How I can find a refuge in my mind. How am I meant to sit here and unwind? The planets align, I feel like I'm cursed. Feel like I'm cursed to just be here to hurt. Feel like I'm cursed to just be here to bleed with my demons. Been feeling this way since birth. Depression, I hate you. 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 Depression, I hate you.
That's powerful stuff. What a performance from Ren, given that this is a lyric video as well. You really feel that sense of authenticity in the way that he puts the words across, and how that performance just becomes more emotional. And then you hit that end there. And I love you're not going to hear me say this very often, but I love the use of swear words in this, because where he places them there's emotion and there's a real emphasis in a way that I kind of feel like only a swear word will do. So, like saying the F word like he does, it's a way of. I'm the kind of person as well that when I swear, I'm really venting, and it's it it's that irritation and that frustration and that anger that's driving it, and I get that in this performance, and it's just, yeah, it just gives that conviction to me. And yeah, it is a bit of a two fingers to depression, big time. It's a heavy old song, this, it is. um like I say, it's quite close to the heart for me, so I wanted to revisit this, but at a time when I was feeling like I'd be able to listen to it and not feel like I would drift off too much, or that it'd feel too close to the bone. So today feels like one of those days when it was where it would be doable. So, and I'm pleased that I've been able to follow this through to the end, and I hope my reaction to this has provoked some thoughts for you around depression and how it affects people and their lives and those around the people that are dealing with it as well. And it's always a conversation point, I think, that needs to be platformed wherever it can be, which is one of the reasons I was keen to cover this song as well, because depression doesn't get enough daylight in the way that it should, and it affects so many people. um, since I've had depression, it's been a real eye opener to see how much relationships have changed with those around me, and also how other people cope with the effects of depression and what it means to people in their lives and those around them. And I think there's a lot of isolation that can come around mental health, and it's important to be able to connect with people as best as you can, because I think that isolation and that loneliness can lead you down a very dark path. So yeah, I'll leave it there, I think. So thank you for following me through to the end on this one. And if there are any other Ren tracks you think I need to have a look at that I may have not touched on yet, let me know in the comments and I'll check them out. All right, thank you everyone. Take care. Bye bye.